everyone. So welcome to my second video in this Q&A video series where I answer questions from people about body acceptance and sort of diet culture, intuitive eating, health at every size. So basically, if you're struggling with this body acceptance journey or you're starting on it and you're like, how do I deal with certain things? I give my best answer based on my own experience and knowledge to help support you in your journey. So this video, I received a question from Lynn. So hi Lynn, thanks for taking the time to submit your question. And Lynn wrote in saying that she is in a family who is really obsessed with fitness and weight loss. And she was recently on holiday and there was lots of talk from her family about feeling fat or being fat. And she was feeling really aware that she had put on some weight. And she didn't want to go down the rabbit hole of feeling insecure about her body, about this weight gain, or kind of going down that spiral back into diet culture of wanting to lose weight. So she was asking, how do you remain centered in this space when you're just surrounded by body shaming talk from your family? So Lynn, thank you again for writing that. And that's a tough situation. That can be really hard, especially when we're on vacation, if maybe we're at a resort or we're kind of locked into a place and we can't leave per se. How do we deal with this? So the first thing that I always say when we're in the middle of being surrounded by people talking about weight loss is to first remember that they are in it. So this is diet culture. We are all living in diet culture, and when we walk away from it, it's a radical act. Okay, there are more people growing and doing this and sort of seeing the light of how pursuing the thin ideal is actually hurting more than it is helping, but we're still a minority in this big world of diet culture. So just again, recognizing they are in it. And it wasn't too long ago that, we were all in it at some stage. So just kind of taking a deep breath and remembering, this is about them, right? So they're obviously feeling insecure about themselves and pursuing this thin ideal, or really have bought into that this is the way that they're going to feel good about themselves. And here's the thing, we as humans, we want to belong. And we want to feel like we fit in. And when we grow up in this culture that teaches us that fat is bad, that certain bodies are more valuable than other bodies, we start to believe this for ourselves, and we're going to do whatever we can in order to feel like we fit in. And so if that means pursuing fitness and losing weight because we see that people who do this are praised in our culture, then we're going to do it. And so that's what's happening, unfortunately. Now, Lynn, you're in a place where you've realized that, gosh, like this actually, there's a disconnect between me then being able to fully live my life and listen to myself and my body when I'm constantly having to deny my hunger, when I'm having to, not listen to my body in order to follow this food plan or follow this exercise plan. And that's can feel lonely. And especially when you're in a family that's shaming bodies and you're still working on feeling okay with yours with the weight gain, I understand that. That can be really tough and triggering. So if you have a relationship with your family where you feel like you can just say, can we please not talk about bodies? I feel really uncomfortable with this. This is taking us out of the moment right now. Like, I can't really enjoy my vacation if I'm worried about how my body looks. That might be enough to kind of snap them out of realizing that actually, when they're sitting here focusing on how bad they feel, they're not able to enjoy their vacation. Now, that may or may not work. So we can't rely on other people changing in order for us to feel good about ourselves. It's great if they can, but what can we do now if they continue talking about it? What you could do, and I use this with a little bit of a caveat because this may open up a door that you don't want to go through, but it might bring some weight into why you want the conversation to stop, is to say, I really have struggled with disordered eating, and having this talk about bodies is really triggering for me. And so it's really helpful if we don't talk about it. So again, if they're really in it and they're going to be like, well, what's disordered eating? You may not want to start talking about all of that. But if they are somewhat aware of it, or they are aware of your struggles, it may be enough for them to stop and say, oh, okay, I'm sorry. So that's an option. The other thing to do is give yourself some time and space. So you may need to walk away from this conversation and go for a walk, go to your room, if depending if you're away and you're at a hotel. Just give yourself some space, take a nice deep breath. I recommend, if you're going on vacation, bringing books, podcasts. If you have access to internet, start scrolling body positive accounts, take a look at my Instagram if there's any posts that I make that might help center you. So again, really inundating yourself with the body acceptance, body positive, body trust message to remind yourself of why you're doing this, because this is not easy for any of us. I still struggle with it, and I have to remind myself daily, some days more than others, when I am triggered, and I come back to using my tools and looking at looking at an Instagram post, reading podcasts. These are things that I do myself to help bring me back to the center. The more that we do it, the stronger that we get. And little bit by little bit by little bit, we'll start to notice that we're not attaching our value so much to our bodies, but more with how we feel and who we are inside. But it takes time. So the last thing I just want to say is this really is about self-care. So if walking away from your family and taking some time for you might make them feel like she doesn't want to hang out with us, your self-care is what's most important, because when you're constantly around it, the resentment can build, and then it's not going to be fun for everyone, let alone yourself. So just really prioritizing self-care and, knowing that it's just something that we may have to deal with when we're in these situations, but we just do the best that we can to take care of ourselves. So, Lynn, I hope that was helpful, and I hope it's helpful for everybody else who is watching. If you have a question, let me know. If you go down below, I have a link where you can submit a question to the Q&A video. If you don't have a question, but you're liking watching these videos, you can just enter your name and email address and subscribe. When you subscribe, you'll also receive a copy of my Body Acceptance Jumpstart Guide, which are 5 actions that you can take to feel good in your body now. So you'll receive that. And you can also subscribe to this YouTube channel if you want to get notifications when I post another video. So that's it for me today. Again, I hope that this helped Lynn. I hope that this helped everybody watching. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.